Reasons come first. Answers come second. Reasons come first. Answers come second. What are your reasons for making it happen? What are your reasons for becoming the best version of yourself? What are your reasons? Got to know why we're fighting. All right. Got to understand why we're fighting. Jim Rohn, obviously, those of you that don't know in personal development, right? Like he trained Tony Robbins and a lot of people. And the guy he's talking about, Mr. Schoaf, right, is the guy that trained him, basically, that opened his eyes to some things. But man, what we can do once we figure out the reasons why we need to do something. The reasons come first, the answers come second. He said a couple things in there that I really want you to take into consideration. And then again, we'll kind of cross-reference this with the text. But personal reasons is why a lot of people do things. Personal reasons. How something makes you feel, right? How something makes you feel. How getting recognition, right? That example of the millionaires that he knows that say things like, hey, they're just going to keep working because of the feeling they get, not about the money, but about the feeling they get by continuing to do what they love to do. I actually just saw an example of this. I'm gonna pull it up for you. I just saw an example of this. Shout out to the Eagles. Go Birds, right? Today's the parade. But the Eagles won the Super Bowl, right? And after the Eagles won the Super Bowl, AJ Brown, one of their receivers, puts out this quote. And I'm gonna pull it up for you guys so you could take a listen to this because it goes exactly to what Jim Rohn was just talking about. But it says winning a Super Bowl is overrated, right? Here's what AJ Brown said, right? It's his quote. He said, "After a few days, I've had time to reflect on being a champion. I've tried to feel how everyone made it seem to be a champion, and unfortunately, it was short-lived. 2 days to be exact. LOL. I've never been a champion at the highest level before, but I thought my hard work would be justified by winning it all. It wasn't. My thrill for the game comes when I dominate. It's in the hunt that does it for me. When the DB drops his head and surrenders because he can't F with me. The intense battles, early mornings, late nights, sacrifices. I love putting smiles on people's faces. Don't get me wrong, but it just wasn't what I thought it would be." And he ends that caption by saying, "It's the journey that I love the most. Back to work. Back to work." This is a Super Bowl champion. This is a Super Bowl champion. Highest level, right? Like, again, you work your whole life for that. He's been playing football since he was 7 years old, 8 years old, 6 years old. He's went through college, the whole nine. Get to the place where you're the champion and you're like, man, doesn't he feel that good? It is about the journey. You don't know it's about the journey until you get to the place you're trying to get to. And then you realize it's about what you have to go through to become the champion. The late nights, the early mornings, the sacrifices, when you're dominating, what that feels like to you. That's the reason why you do things. When you hear people saying, you just got to enjoy the journey, right? You got to trust the process. You got to enjoy. That's what they mean because there's no destination to this thing. The reasons as to why you are getting to this life is not the money. It's who you have to become in order to get there. It's very interesting to see AJ Brown say that. But again, it goes directly to what Jim Rohn is talking about, that reasons come first. Once you figure out why you're doing something, once you figure out the reasons why you need to do something, that's when the answers come. Most people just aren't sick and tired of being sick and tired. They're not at the bottom. They're not at the, man, I need to get this done. I need to make this happen. Because that's when the answers come, when you're desperate for them. The second thing he said, the reason why people continue or reasons come from their family, right? From family life, right? Again, I just told you this at the very beginning of this. Hey, there's people counting on you. There's people that care about you. There's people that are counting on you to get this information so that you can help them. If I love it because I'm in a business, right, where we help a lot of families. I love it when people say, I'm doing this for my kids. I'm doing this. I'm doing all these things for my family. I love that that's a motivating factor for people. And when they say that, then I don't allow their kids or their family to be the reasons why they can't do it. Because oftentimes that happens where we're like, I'm doing this for my children. I'm doing this to build a legacy. And then the moment we have to take some time away from our kids, it's like, I can't take time away from my kids. It's like, well, we can't do both. But when we have this as a strong reason, when family is a strong reason, guess what? It pulls us to doing a lot of things. When your spouse, your kids, your family, like those become reasons. You got to figure out your reasons. Here's the last things that Jim Rohn said. He said, what's got you turned on and what's got you turned off? What's got you turned on and what's got you turned off? Have you taken time to sit down? Let's start with the second question to figure out what's got you turned off. Like what's the thing that has like turned you down, that has right kind of lowered your let's say excitement for life, your joy of life. What's got you turned off? Is it your environment? Is it your financial situation? Is it the people you're around? Is it your job? Is it right? Like what's got you turned off? It's just like I don't want to deal with this, right? What's that side? Take some time to think about that. Here's the other side. What's got you turned on? What does give you that spark, that energy, that excitement for life, that thing that gets you up in the morning? You're like, man, I get another shot at this thing. Man, we're about to make this happen. What's that? We need both of those things, ladies and gentlemen. You need to identify what's turning you off, and we got to remove some of those things, fix those things, like Jim Rohn said, and then what's turning you on? What's getting you going? What gets your momentum going? That Dale Carnegie quote, right? Like that they pulled out that note from Dale Carnegie. He said, I'm going to spend the first half of my life creating wealth, right? Making as much money as I possibly can. I'm going to use the second half of my life to give it all away. It's a big goal. It's a big vision. It's big things that he wanted to do, but that kept him focused. That gave him a reason why he would go through some of the rough stuff that he had to go through. So that's my challenge to all of you. What's got you turned on? But also what's got you turned off? What's got you turned on, but what's got you turned off? I think you should take some time this weekend to figure that out. In our text, 177, Mental Toughness Secrets of the World Class, number 57 says, champions know why they're fighting. You got to know why you're fighting. I mentioned this a little bit on, I think it was Wednesday or Monday. Like we kind of talked about something similar, but you guys got to understand the life that you're asking for is uphill. Okay. The reason you're here is because you want to change something, because you want to grow, because you want to learn, because you want to become better, because you want to be more, do more, have more, like all those things. It's like, that's why we're here. So you got to know that's an uphill thing. That's an uphill battle. You're climbing Mount Everest. You're going up. So you have to have reasons as to why you're going to climb this mountain. Otherwise, you won't do it. It's just human. This is human nature, right? We're not going to do things if we don't understand why we got to do it, why we're doing this. So it's important to know why you're fighting. Here's what it says in the text. It says, average performers never fully tap into their own psyches, and as a result, they're unmotivated by big dreams. World-class performers know what they are willing to fight and even die for. This is a critical trait of the great ones. They draw their motivation and willpower intrinsically, where the middle class waits for the motivational mood to strike. Professional performers invest a tremendous amount of time in thinking about what makes them tick to uncover their deepest, most powerful emotional motivators. When the going gets tough, the pain kicks in, average people back off from a goal or a task. This is when the world class really begins to fight. When they begin to feel physical or psychological pain, they go inside themselves and draw their vast reserves of emotional power. When pain strikes, the subconscious mind asks the conscious mind, why must I suffer? The great ones know the answer is their vision. When their subconscious determines the vision is worth fighting and suffering for, their level of motivation soars. This is one of the major reasons there's such a chasm between amateurs and pros. The difference may be small at the start, but as the pain and suffering escalate, the performance gap becomes larger and larger to the point of total mismatch. You don't pit amateurs against pros. It's like feeding a man to the lions. Understand this is the big sentence I want you to understand. When pain strikes, the subconscious mind asks the conscious mind, why must I suffer? When pain strikes, when you are climbing the mountain and you get a Charlie horse, your brain, your subconscious mind starts saying, why are we climbing this mountain? Like, why are you putting me through this? Like, why do I have to go through this? That's what our subconscious mind will constantly do. When you say, I want to get healthy, I want to get physically fit, and it starts to be painful, The fact that you got to wake up at 6 in the morning, the fact that you got to start sweating and moving your body and being sore and all the stuff, your subconscious mind is going to go to the point of, why are we doing this? Why are we getting healthy? Your brain is there to keep you safe. This doesn't feel safe. Your bones hurt, your muscles hurt, right? You're hungry, all these things. Why are we doing this? If you don't know how to answer that question to your subconscious mind, you're going to stop fighting. It's just human nature. It's just human nature. So when we want to go off and design our ideal life, meaning health, wealth, love, happiness, right? You're successful in all the areas. When you say, hey, I want to be successful in my financial life, got it. It's going to be really difficult. It's going to be hard. And at some point, your subconscious mind is going to say, why are we going through this? Just get a job. Like, you're okay. You're fine where you are. Like, why are we going through this rejection and this pain? And like, what are we doing? That's why Jim Rohn says reasons come first. Reasons come first. Because before you get to that place where you are suffering, you're going through some pain, you're climbing this mountain, things are becoming tough in your relationships and your health and your finances and all the things are becoming tough. You got to already have reasons as to why you're doing this. This is where clarity comes in. This is where vision comes in. This is where you taking time with yourself to figure out what you're trying to get to and why you want those things is crucial. Don't just want things that other people want. What do you want? Because that's where you will get the reasons to keep fighting, the reasons to, when it's hard, you're going to keep going through it. We all have to have these things, especially for us, because we want to go off and design our ideal life. We are the people that want to go out and say, you know what? We're creating this life that we can only imagine, whatever that looks like for you. For some people, it's being on the island and right, traveling where they want to, or right, having a lot of leisure time or whatever it is. For some people, it's family legacy. For some people, it's right, being able to give and give back. Like whatever that life is you're trying to get to, ladies and gentlemen, these are the small shifts. You got to know why you're doing this thing. You got to know why you're doing this thing. Because if you don't, again, it gets tough. It gets tough. But that's why we're here on the journey to make this happen. Steve Siebold says one of the hallmarks of the great ones is their level of awareness as to what they're willing to fight for. They're willing to suffer and sacrifice to make their visions a reality. So how much are you willing to suffer and sacrifice to make your vision a reality? Because if you, right, again, it's natural, it's gonna happen, and you got to know why. You got to know why you're fighting. You got to know why you're putting in this time. You got to know why you're putting in this energy in order to do that. The action step for today says make a list of the 10 reasons you will do whatever it takes to breathe life into your vision. Today, right? Some of these action steps, I know y'all don't do it, right? Like I know you don't. It's okay, right? But some of these, like you absolutely should do. Like you should. It's Friday. What are you going to do this weekend? Some of y'all might have to work. Cool. Maybe you have some engagements. Fine. And you probably got a bunch of time. Probably got some time that you can set aside and say, you know what? Let me take some time to just figure out like, what are the reasons why I'm going to do whatever it takes? Are they personal reasons? Is it like how I feel? Is it the recognition? Is it about the journey? Like, is it about me? Like, if I get this feeling, that's the reasons why I'm doing it. Like that millionaire that Jim Rohn talked about, right? Just having the feelings of being a winner. I don't care about the money. I just want to feel like being a winner. Like that's important to me. And so is that a reason? Are there external reasons? Are there family reasons? Are you just serving your God? Like what is the reasons? What are the reasons you're going to do whatever it takes? These become the questions you got to answer for yourself, ladies and gentlemen. These become the conversations you got to have with yourself, regardless of what's happening out there, regardless of what's happening in society, regardless of what you see on your social media feed, regardless of what your neighbors and your coworkers and your friends are talking about. This is what's important for people like us that want to go off and design our ideal life. In order to have something you've never had, you got to do something that you've never done. Maybe you've never sat down to write down the 10 reasons why you're doing what you're doing. Maybe you've never done that. I challenge you, if you do that, maybe you get different outcomes. If you've never sat down to take time to write out, like, hey, here's why I'm doing this stuff. Maybe that's why you haven't gotten the stuff. So if you take the time to sit down and do it, and then read it, and then look at it and make sure that that's true to you, then maybe you get the things you want. I don't know. But this is my encouragement, my challenge to all of you. So go out and do something different. No more same routine, right? Same old thinking, same old routine, same old results. If you want different results, we got to change the routine. But normally that comes through changing our thinking. So maybe we got to do some things differently this weekend. Whatever you got going on, so it's All-Star weekend for those of you that like basketball. Like maybe you don't watch every single event. Maybe you don't watch the celebrity game and the dunk contest and the 3-point and all the things and then watch the game. Like maybe you don't do that this weekend. Maybe you take time to not, right? To focus on your goals. I just want to encourage you guys. I know that the road gets tough. I know it gets hard. I know there's challenges. I know there's family that, doesn't support or isn't helpful. I know there's information and messages and negative thoughts and all these things that start creeping in, and you can still make it. And you can still climb this mountain. You can still get to your ideal life, and you can still design a life you don't need a break from. And you can still build the capacity to handle all that life has for you up ahead. Like you can still do those things in spite of all the roadblocks. But just like AJ Brown said that we looked at, right? It's about the journey. It's about the journey. It's not about the destination. It's about the journey. It's about the man or woman you're going to become in order to get to that destination. If $1 million is the destination, it's not about the $1 million. It's about the man or woman you got to become to make $1 million. Right? If it's about the health, if it's about having the proper body mass index, if it's about having the right body fat percentage, it's really not about that. It's about the man or woman you got to become in order to achieve that. Right? So that's what we're here to work on. We're here to work on ourselves because as we grow, we have the capacity to handle more of what life has to offer us. I love you guys. I want you to win. You deserve to win. Your families deserve to win. I will tell you this forever because if no one else out there tells you, if everyone out there is just blaming people and the government and blah, 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 all the stuff, like somebody needs to tell you, like, you deserve to win. And your family is counting on you and they deserve to win too. Now we got to go do the work. Now we got to go think differently. Now we got to go change our habits. Now we got to go create a vision. Now we got to go sit down and write out our reasons. Like now we got to change in order to get there. But it's possible, y'all. I love you guys. See you guys on Monday. Enjoy your weekend. We'll talk soon. Later.